puck is home to Robinson. It's a tap. First Domingo.
Behind the back, highlight reel goal.
Crisscrossing, Stanwyck, Conley, feet in front. Matisse scores! Hat trick for Kyle Matisse.
Low shot into the corner, and another goal for Logan Schuss.
Associates. We partner with organizations to leverage technology to accelerate their growth and profitability.
Associates has really partnered with us to learn our business, understand our needs. Since they've sat on both sides of the desk, not only as implementation experts, but also people who actually use the accounting systems, they were able to build solutions that really help my staff.
The breadth of knowledge that Socius delivers in multiple areas of the business has been remarkable.
We're Associates. Get to know us and what we can do for you.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Nuts and Bolts podcast presented by Socius. I'm your host, Brian Bender, and sitting in with us today is Machine President and General Manager John Algie. John, how are you doing today?
Not too bad, thanks.
Once again, thanks again for taking the time to come in and do this. We know you're a busy man with a couple home games coming up and running the day-to-day operations for the Machine. Take us through your day.
Sure. You know, there's a lot of different things going on. I certainly work with the coaches quite a bit on player personnel type stuff, getting ready for the home and the away games. But my primary focus is really more on the business side of things, getting ready for. We got a big game coming up here, July 4th. Bayhawks coming into town, so we got a lot of different moving parts that we got to get ready for that.
And you know, you have a degree. You have 2 degrees from Pitt in law and business, and that definitely has to help with the day-to-day operations of running a pro sports franchise. But as we like to do in the podcast, we like to step out of bounds sometimes. And quick side note, I was researching Pitt football the other day, and when they play at Steeler Stadium, you see all the pictures of everyone who's played there, from Ditka to Dorsett to Marino to McCoy. And how come the Panthers haven't been able to capture a national title with talent like that?
You know, it's pretty interesting. Pitt football's obviously got a rich tradition. 9 times they were the national champion, but haven't really been able to put it together as of late. But they always do seem to have quite a few top-end NFL players coming out each year. So it has been a little frustrating as a Pitt fan to not see them be able to put it together and have a little bit more success. But we love our head coach right now, Paul Christ, who came over from Wisconsin, and he's putting together a nice team. So we're excited for the future.
They're looking good on both sides of the balls going forward, so they should have a bright future. Now, switching back to lacrosse, which is the main point of this podcast, you have worn a lot of different hats when it comes to Major League Lacrosse, starting with the Director of Operations. Talk about that role in the league.
Sure. You know, I worked in the league office starting back in 2004, which was a pretty exciting time in the league. We were really pushing the Wild West expansion initiative, and that ultimately led to the creation of some teams out west. And Denver, the Denver Outlaws are one of those teams that came out of that in 2006 expansion. And you know, that was really my first opportunity getting involved with Major League Lacrosse. I worked with a ton of players. Just on contract things, rules enforcement, work with the officials, referees, working on the rule book, team ops manual, things of that nature. And it was a really great experience for me because I worked so closely with all the GMs for all the teams and was able to sort of get different information and learn a lot about the different kinds of strategies and tactics that each team was using for player personnel matters as it related to league deadlines and things as they came and went.
And on the field, you were also key in moving the shot clock from 45 seconds to 60 seconds, which the league has used since that happened. Talk about that for a little bit.
You know, in 2004, we had the 45-second shot clock, and I believe that year scoring was just kind of out of control a little bit, and we had a lot of discussion with the coaches and GMs and owners at the time about whether or not a change would make sense, and ultimately we were able to get everyone together and move to a 60-second shot clock the following year, and it's been that way ever since. And I think it's made for a really great product. It really captures that up and down transition play that we're looking for in Major League Lacrosse, but it also gives teams sufficient time to set up and actually generate an offense in a settled situation.
And when you watch a team like the Machine, especially this season, that's been key to their success so far on the field. Now, you took a couple years off and moved into law and worked there, and then in 2011 you came back when the Machine came to Ohio. Can you talk about how the Machine came to Ohio?
Yeah, the league had been doing a number of different things in the Columbus and the Central Ohio market over the years. The first ever MLL event before the league actually started was a showcase game that was in Columbus before any of the teams actually got formed and that sort of thing. So that was pretty cool. And there was a championship game here a couple years later. And each time the market just didn't seem quite ready yet. There wasn't quite as much lacrosse as you'd hope. But the growth here in the area has been just huge. And when the league did a regular season game in 2010, that really became the jumping off point to get a team out here. And so I moved out here in 2011 with the task of getting the team up and running, and we've been going forward ever since.
What were the challenges leading up to that 2012 season? You had to basically get a new fan base, it's a new city, and then you had roster challenges on top of that.
Sure, all the while that you're getting ready for the expansion draft and looking at players and trying to constitute a team and working with the coaching staff to get those sorts of things in line. You've also got to deal with all the business operation side of things. I mean, even just little things like finding an office and getting phones set up and computers and all those little things you'd kind of take for granted. Took a little bit of time there, and certainly working with the various venues that are in the area too to figure out where we were going to play. And so it was during that time that I had a number of meetings with Ohio Wesleyan University and was able to tour Selby Stadium and really fell in love with the place, and that's ultimately why we call Selby Stadium home today.
Selby's a great place to check out a lacrosse game. It's very close to the field. It's intimate. You can get a real just understanding for the game, and you get to see all the players up close and in action. And talking about the players, walk us through drafting. What goes through your mind, especially looking back to 2012 and building the team to now? You've done that. A lot of it's been done through the draft.
The first thing is making sure that you're getting players that the coaching staff's comfortable with. And so I always work very closely with our coaching staff to try and identify players that are going to fit in the system and that they're looking to run and the players that they want to coach. And then from there, one of the key things that we're looking for is also character, players with good character that are looking to buy into the team concept, that are going to play for each other and not just looking to run up their own stats, things like that, so that when we can get all the players together, they're able to hold each other accountable and really thrive in a system led by the coach.
Speaking of new players, there have been three in particular that I can think of that have come in and made immediate impact as soon as they've been here, and that's been Logan Schuss, Peter Baum, and Tom Schreiber. Talk about them.
They're all tremendous players for sure, and they all bring different things to the table, and so it's been really exciting to see them develop on the field and start to develop some chemistry too. So we're really excited about their potential in the league.
Off-season addition of Kyle Harrison, a senior proven leader. He's been key to kind of being the voice of reason on the team so far. What does he mean to this machine team?
Well, Kyle's an excellent leader, and he's been a winner everywhere he's ever gone, and so I think being able to add a guy with Kyle's pedigree, his character, his leadership to a core of young offensive talent, I think the team really took to him immediately, and he's been able to provide a lot of that veteran savvy that you're looking for, and he's also a heck of a player too. I mean, he's really got a great skill set too, and so he fits right in, and I don't think he's missed a beat coming back into the league this year.
With all these new players and some of the old ones that have been here, it seems that Coach Davis, now going into his, first full season, but second season with the machine, it seems that his offensive scheme is really starting to take hold, especially with the past 3 games and the scoring output that we've seen. Talk about Coach Davis and what his coaching philosophy brings.
Coach Davis just really brings such a tremendous energy that I think all the guys buy into immediately. He's very regimented in his approach. He puts a lot of detail into the scouting reports during the week and the offensive game plan, and I think the players really respect that and buy into it. And I think he's a great fit for our young team as well, because he's got a system that really values sharing the ball, making smart decisions. We've got players that'll certainly buy into that and are really looking to make the unselfish play, get their teammates open into prime scoring position. I think we're starting to see that come together.
When you look at the league as a whole so far, pretty much every team is bunched within 1 or 2 games of each other. What do the machine have to do going forward to separate themselves and hopefully make the playoffs?
I think we just need to continue to focus on the things that we can control, and I think that's something that Coach Davis has been emphasizing since the minute he got here. We can only control, what happens within those 60 minutes when the game starts, and our preparation during the week going into those games. So as long as we focus on that and we continue to play the way we're capable and maintain that intensity and focus game in and game out, then the sky's the limit for us.
What's been the biggest difference for you that you've seen on the field this season in comparison to seasons past?
I think it's the energy and enthusiasm and mindset. I think in the past we would go into games, and I think Coach Davis said this best, we would go into games hoping that we could win. And with this season, just immediately the vibe in training camp was we're going into games knowing that we can win. And I think that's a big difference in approach and focus. And when you know that you can win, then you've got the confidence to go and play your game and know that if you are really reaching your potential, then you're going to come out on top at the end.
Home games have been a pretty electric atmosphere this year. Selby Stadium has been packed. So can you talk about the impact the fans make?
We've got a great fan base, and they've been with us since day one, cheering the team on. The players love coming home to Selby Stadium and seeing our great fans, and that's been such a key to our success here too, because I know that this team feels like we owe our fans. They've been with us, like I said, from day one here, and so it's all about playing well home and away, giving the fans something to cheer about, and hopefully we'll be able to bring a championship home.
Speaking about the fans, one last thing before we get you out of here and back to work. I hear you're a connoisseur of Columbus dining. You know the good places to go. What places should they check out?
Oh, I can't not mention Amato's Wood-Fired Pizza. Disclaimer: they are a big sponsor of ours, but a big part of that is because their food's fantastic, and they've got a great machine pizza. I've been harping on them for years now to do a machine pizza, and then they did it this year, and they really outdid themselves with the toppings on there. It's got meatball, which I tell you is I think the most underrated pizza topping that there is, and so they're a fantastic spot to go eat for sure.
I think, if I remember correctly, that was your pregame meal before home game 1 this season.
It was, and I enjoyed every second of it for sure.
All right, well, John, we thank you for taking the time to come into the Nuts and Bolts podcast presented by Socius, and I'm your host, Brian Bender, and I hope you guys all have a good day.
Time to oil up. We check athletes from head to toe before the season starts to make sure you don't hit the wall when it matters most. Teaming up with coaches, athletic trainers, and physicians to keep athletes healthy. Helping you avoid injury and recover quickly to keep you in the game.
OSU Sports Medicine,
the official sports medicine provider of the Ohio Machine and athletes everywhere.